treat in store for you today as we are going to look at all of the gifts from both the land and the ocean. What you're looking at here is moss, sea moss, straight from the ocean. What you're looking at here are the gifts of Mother Earth from the land. Combining them together, we get the sea moss here. This is what it looks like when you dry it from the sea. When it comes to you dried, this is how you get it. And then together, we are going to be putting this together today. Welcome to the Elegantly Raw Show. Today, we're going to be making some incredible drinks with this sea moss and also these gifts from the earth. So, what you're looking at here is the sea moss when it's dried. This is what it looks like in the ocean. This is what it looks like when dried. So, we're going to be using this and all of these beauties from the earth today because this is where all of our ingredients are going to be coming from the earth. These are dates. Of course, I've depicted them. Make sure you always depict them. And when you depict them, open them up like this so you don't make a mistake. And sometimes the pit is so small, you don't realize it's still in there. And then if you have it like this and you put it in the blender like this, it will just, and the pit is all still in, it will most likely destroy your blender. So be very careful with that. We're going to be using these absolutely gorgeous apples, turmeric, some root vegetables, and some ginger. And what is this? Ooh la la. This is known by several different names. It's known as vegan caviar or caviar limes or finger limes. And the place that I get it from, it comes like this, which is in a bag. And I really love this bag because this means you don't get it in plastic. And it is incredible because this bag itself is made from plants. And so it gives a little extra added freshness to it. So it keeps them fresh. So I keep them like this in the bag in the refrigerator. So you can see them all in here. And it keeps it really fresh. So this is what we're going to be using today. And this is, of course, called Good Land Organics. That's where the farm that it comes from in California. So let's look at what we're doing today. We're going to first juice the apples. Look how gorgeous these are. Look at not just the color, but also just the energy bursting forth from them. So you want to make sure that the foods that you put in your diet are very energetic. And I see we already have some comments. I'll be coming to the comments in a moment. So I just want to get us first started with the juicing. So let's do the juicing of these apples first, shall we? Using, of course, a ceramic knife because I want to make sure you do not change the energy of the food in any way, shape, or form. So a ceramic knife, not only when you cut the apple, you can leave this out for 10, 20 hours. And because of you've used a knife that's ceramic, it will not change to brown. It will never brown. Really important to know. So here we go. Cutting these to be juiced. So let's start the juicing process, shall we? Turning it on, putting it in the juicer. Make sure you always have this here for the juice to go in and then one for the pulp. So why am I doing apples? Well, first of all, I really like the combination of the sweetness of the apples with the saltiness of the sea moss, because sea moss is very salty, extremely salty. And if you don't want salt in your diet, you're going to make sure that you soak it a lot beforehand, an awful lot. I mean, anywhere from 24 to 48 hours soaking. So while this is juicing, I'm going to show you after you've soaked the sea moss. And remember, this is how you get it. It looks like this. Then what you're going to do is you're going to blend it, and it ends up looking like this. And then you put it in the fridge and you keep it in the fridge. And so this is the gel. We're using the sea moss gel now. So they actually need to change this around. But let me just put this in here first, and let's finish the juicing of this. And then I'll come to the comments. And let me see who's here in the comments right now. Tom, you're back. Tom, I haven't seen you in a while. I hope you weren't ill again. Nice to have you back. Your back hurts. Oh, Tom. Oh, sea moss will help. Oh, my goodness. If you have a lot of inflammation, this is the time to be getting sea moss and using it. Amira St. John's, I haven't heard nor from you in a long, long, long time. How are you? You're in Arizona. Lovely. And you have an inversion table that works one. Yes, I have an inversion table too. I use it for all my clients. At the end of every session, we do inversion unless they're terrified. If they're terrified, of course, I don't use it. Yes, it's incredible, Amira. I totally agree. Tom, you ought to think about doing that. Tom says, I've been attending anti-fur protest. Wow, Tom, you've been doing a lot. So let's take some of this out here. Let me push this down here with the plunger. So this is not moving the way I want it to. And that's why you always have this, in case something gets stuck, so that you can push it down. Really important to do that. So now I'm going to cut this up more, put more in there. Let's see what are the comments. So how did you succeed with the anti-fur protest, Tom? Let us know. What were the results, and were there a lot of people there? And did anyone take heed? Amira says, I'm good. Hope. Oh, yes, I'm very well, thanks. Yeah, lovely to see you. Long, long time no see. So I'm going to use one more apple in there. And why I'm doing that now, just so you know, if you're going to use the sea moss gel in here, you could also have this without. But if you're like Tom and your back is hurting you now, you really need the sea moss gel to really help with that. You know, inflammation just shows that something is out of whack. And usually it means you've got a lot of toxins running around that have not been taken out of your body. And so it's creating all of this inflammation in your body, and it usually goes to the weakest part of the body first. So normally I would not put the ginger juice in there. I make ginger juice, but I'm going to use the ginger today. Now, see, when you cut the ginger open, you see all the water coming out? But look how much I'm going to use in there. I'm going to put this in the juicer. I'm just going to use this amount in there, just this amount of the ginger. And this is the turmeric. This is how much turmeric I'm putting in. Now, normally I would not put turmeric in the juicer unless I have something fatty in it, because you need either fat or black pepper in order for your body to absorb the turmeric and do any good for you. And by the way, Tom, the turmeric, oh my gosh, it will help you so much. You said you're in pain with that lower back problem. You've got to go out and get some turmeric. In fact, make this exact recipe I'm making now, because you'll see that I'm going to be adding fat afterwards, because I don't use black pepper, because black pepper irritates the lining of the digestive system, which is why I do not use black pepper at all. So I don't suggest that anybody uses it. So for the fat, what am I using for the fat? Here you go. This is macadamia nut butter. I love macadamia nuts. And of course, the nut butter is just tantalizing. It is scrumptious just as it is. And if you want, you can put it on just about anything, including you can make cheese with it, a vegan cheese with it. You can also make, I'm going to turn this off right now. So you can also make any kind of dressing with it. Now, I could also right now do this. I could juice this in there right now, but what you don't know is that I actually put the finger lime in the sea moss gel already. So this is already in here. So this is why I'm not adding it, for that reason and that reason alone. And Tom asked if coconut oil would work. No, no. What you need is the turmeric. Oh, the ginger will help a lot too with the digestion, to make sure if it's a digestive problem that's causing that, that will help. And somebody's asked me, oh, that's Tom, do I use a micro grater? What's a micro grater? I'm not sure what you're talking about, Tom. Let me know what you mean, please. Okay, so enough with the juicing. On to the blender. You do not need a powerful blender for this. You would, had you been juicing, had I not used the juicer and you were putting the turmeric in the blender, yes, you would need a very powerful blender. Had you also not been juicing the actual ginger, you would, yes, definitely need to make sure you have a powerful blender if you're putting the ginger in the blender. But since I juiced both the turmeric and the ginger already in the juicer, because I prefer that, I do not need a powerful blender. You can use any blender then, but I do have a powerful blender, which I shall be using, but not because I really need it, especially since I'm using the macadamia nut butter rather than the macadamia nuts. Now, if you're going to be using macadamia nuts, if you soak them beforehand, you don't need a powerful blender. But if you do not soak them, and I do not suggest not soaking, you really ought to soak them beforehand. For the ginger, no, I put the ginger in the blender, in the juicer. But if you don't have a juicer, oh, you mean the micro? Yes, you can use that if you want to. Yes, yes, yes. I know what you're talking about now. But you can do that if you don't have a juicer or you don't have a powerful blender. Yes, yes, you could make golden milk. This is what pretty much what I'm making, only it goes further than golden milk in helping you with all of your problems that you're having there, Tom. So here's what the juice looks like. Now you could you could, if you want to, use this as a juice, but you're not going to get the effects of the turmeric, simply because there's no fat in here. You need fat in order to make sure that you digest it. So the fat comes from this, which is the actual macadamia nut butter, or just from macadamia nuts. So I'm using a ceramic spoon for this to see what it looks like here, the macadamia nut butter. I like it chunky, so I made it chunky. So you can also purchase it, by the way, raw macadamia nut butter from Living Tree Community Foods if you wish to. So I'm putting that in there. So there's our fat. And this is the reason why I don't need to blend anything. So that's in. Now let's go. So that's our fat. Now let's go for the sea moss. So this one, if you recall, I already made it with the caviar lime, which is why I didn't put the caviar lime in the juicer, nor am I putting it in the blender. But you can also put the caviar lime in the blender. This is about as much sea moss as I'm using. You don't need to use a lot. Start with like half a teaspoon, then work your way up to 1 teaspoon. And then I'm putting a little extra because I'm so used to it. And then you can go all the way up to a tablespoon. Now, I'm just going to put this back here. And be careful never to drop your spoon in the blender. I have done that, and then I have forgotten it's in there. Turn it on, and that was goodbye to the blender. I've gone through quite a few blenders. When I first started 20 years ago, that was what would happen. You always, it seems like we always do it at the beginning, but then later on you get so used to it, you don't do it anymore. So that's what's in here now. And now we're going to be putting this, which is the juice that I just made, in here. Isn't that a beautiful? I can smell this juice. It smells intoxicating. It's so beautiful. Now, if you want, you can, if you want to, but only if you want to, put this in. Now, what is this? This is a vanilla bean. Why am I not putting in a vanilla, vanilla powder or vanilla with the alcohol in it? I don't want any alcohol in it, and I like things that are fresh. So that's why I'm putting on this vanilla bean in there instead. Or you can get them in a glass jar if you prefer not to have the plastic. And then it does come, though, in, here it is. There it is. So I'm going to show you how to use the vanilla bean. You don't have to have the vanilla bean. I just love the taste of this with the vanilla bean in it. And this is organic vanilla beans as well from Madagascar. I prefer to get them from Madagascar because they are just so scrumptious then. So you're going to need a knife. You're going to need the tip of a knife. You're going to put the tip of the knife and go down the center of the vanilla bean. So I'm going to do it. You need to put it on a surface to do that. So that's what I'm going to do now. And you've got to really push that knife in there. Then you're going to open it up. See? Like this. Can you see the vanilla in there now? And then I see there are more comments. I'm going to be coming to that in a minute. Before I do that, though, I want to actually talk about the last ingredient I'm going to put in there. In fact, I'm going to put something up on the screen about that. While I am doing this, I'm going to put something up on the screen about the last ingredient I'm going to use. And that is the Baobab powder. So the Baobab comes like this. It comes in a container like this. And I'm going to show you actually the tree that it comes from. There is the Baobab tree. Can you see that? It's gorgeous. It is usually, you find this in Africa, but you have it in other places of the world too that have a similar climate. So from that tree, we get this fruit, but this fruit actually comes like this. It comes as a powder. The fruit is a powder. It's not like you're making a powder from the fruit. This is the actual fruit. It comes as a powder. And the reason why I'm putting it in here is because of its incredible nutrient value. So it contains so much vitamin C. It is pretty incredible. And it is known for the amount of fiber, and it has more antioxidants than any other fruit. And this is what the fruit comes at. It comes with a shell, and then in that shell is this powder. I know it's unusual, but this is exactly what it is. So I've just put it in here. You can see that. And I've put about a tablespoonful in there. I'm going to open this so you can see that this is exactly how it comes out of the tree, in powder form. You just open the shell of it, and that's it. You get the powder. Very unusual fruit, isn't it? But it's such a nutritious fruit. So let's get back to the comments. But first, I'm going to do the vanilla bean because I love this. So what you do is you scrape it. You take the edge of the knife and you scrape off the vanilla from it. And then you just put it in here. And then you put this on. Of course, the blender, you put the blender in. And then I'm going to close off close this off, the top of the blender. Then I'm going to put this on. You don't really need the plunger. I'm just using it because I like to use it. Tom, you're saying, I bet California is a good climate to grow vanilla beans. We don't have vanilla beans here. there are only certain places in the world. I don't know much about vanilla beans, like how they grow or things like that, but there are just certain places in the world that are really seem to be very, very beneficial for. Oh, I love this so much. Even though the smell and the taste are incredible to vanilla beans. Do you have to go diving to harvest your own sea moss? No, thank goodness, no. No, other people do, but you've got to make sure that where you're getting it from is a trusted source. Be very, very careful. And it's not created in these pools on land. They can actually be quite carcinogenic. So you've got to be very careful where you get the sea moss from or the sea moss gel. And some companies will sell the gel. You have to find out where they get it from. So look at that. This makes a great ice cream too, by the way. I would just put a lot more of the sea moss in there and less of the liquid. You can also use water. I happen to really like the taste of the apple in there. Now, what else can I put in there? If you want, you can put the dates. Now, because the apples are sweet, depending on the apple you're using, I happen to prefer to put the dates only because of the sea moss and how much I put in there. So I like to balance it off with that. So I'm putting these dates in here now. These are not medjool. Had it been medjool dates, I'd have only put 2 or 3 medjool dates. And the reason why I'm putting this much is because these are not medjool dates. These are deglet dates. So it looks very creamy. It looks exactly like a milkshake. So I see that Amira has said something here about growing baobab in the United States. Some people I know are trying to grow it, but it's not, you have to have the perfect conditions for it. And Africa and some places in Asia too seem to be much better for that. Now look how it changes the color here, the dates. See, it's more like at first it was white and now it's like a brown. So let's get our glasses. I wish you were here. I wish you were here to taste this because, oh my gosh. Now remember, this is a healing drink, but look at this. It's a milkshake. And it's the most incredible milkshake. Now, if I juiced the extra apple that I had, this would be much more liquid, or I could have put less of the actual sea moss in there. But this is exactly the way I want it. So make sure you have a very tight container, this glass, with a tight lid, because you don't want any of these nutrients to be escaping. This is actually a glass full of healing. This is so incredibly rich. At the same time, it's also healing. So not only will you be looking forward to this as a meal, this is your complete meal. It has so much in it that is incredible healing, and the smells are intoxicating themselves. So maybe eventually we'll have smelly vision and you can smell these things. But there we go, taking land and sea together to make the most beautiful, incredibly healing. I hope you're going to be making this today, Tom, and letting us know next week how you felt afterwards. And remember to do some stretching as well. So Amira and Tom are saying some things here. Don't forget the turmeric. Oh, I already put the turmeric when I was juicing. Remember when I juiced the actual apples and the ginger, I put the turmeric in there. Remember, I put a piece of turmeric root in there and a piece of ginger root. Okay, and now Amira is saying, is any vanilla grown in the US? Well, yeah, you can grow. It's a problem. It's a problem. I don't know if you want to call Hawaii a U.S. state, since a lot of Hawaiians don't like that, but in the actual mainland, it's pretty difficult. So one glass of that will be doing gymnastics like Mary. Tom, you're so funny. So yes, all you need is really this. Would you believe this kind of glass, this small glass? You don't need a large glass. So I wanted to thank all the farmers who are now growing, because we could not, it was hard to get this first in the United States, these finger limes, also called caviar limes or vegan caviar, because it's really indigenous to Australia. And now we have farmers here growing them in the United States. It's so wonderful that we have this. And I'm going to put in the comments after the show where you can get them here in the US. So it's a company that actually brings us things directly from the farms. It's pretty amazing to get stuff directly from the farms, and you have a monthly subscription with them, and they give you what's available and what's there. So we had our roots, the ginger and the turmeric. We had also the finger limes, also called caviar limes or vegan caviar. We had the sea moss. We had the baobab powder, all raw. We had the sea moss gel that we end up taking the sea moss and making it into a gel with the finger limes. So this is in this. Just remember when you're making it. And you can also, I remember you can buy them already made. I just started to sell them ready made, the gel, and Belinda, I know, is getting them. So here is your gel. Of course, we use this. You don't have to juice anything beforehand. You could have used water. I just happen to love the taste with this. And then, of course, we had the vanilla bean in there as well, and the dates. So, we are enjoying being healthy and healing, and it's okay to be ill. But when you're ill, go for it and use gorgeous, amazing, incredible things like this, because then not only will you be satiated and get healthy, but also you will enjoy it and use the illness to rest and know that you matter. So please make yourself matter yourself. I look forward to seeing everyone here next week for more healing and incredibly delightful recipes. So until next week, everyone, and to everyone who tuned in today, thank you all. I see that, who's this? Allison Cole is here. Hi, what can you use if finger limes are not available? That's an excellent question. You can use Mayer lemons. You can also use, actually, any lemon or limes will do. But these are the things that I also use. You know, another thing you can use is lemongrass. If you don't have them, if you can get lemongrass. I get my lemongrass directly from Thailand, and I do definitely recommend lemongrass. That was an excellent question. I'm glad I saw that before I went off. Thank you for asking that one, Allison. So everyone, until next week, please spread the word, spread the video so that people will know what to do when they're not feeling well, rather than taking all of those prescription drugs, which you know really is not necessary when you can heal yourself and enjoy yourself all at the same time. Yes, healing can be fun. So let's have more fun next week, shall we? We'll see you next week, same time, same place. Bye for now.